I want to think about editing a little bit differently than I have been, because editing is more than just, I can see how good that is because of, how flashy that is, or all that slow motion or stuff like that, or like even the special effects on top of it, because all that is editing. I have to pay attention also to, the sound editing too, is included in that, because you can tell that it's a good job editing if you can hear everything that sounds normal and you're just completely believing you're in that world, if it's like a really larger than life kind of movie in space maybe, or if it's just like a really huge James Bond action movie kind of thing. Because that's complex. You wouldn't be impressed as much with, say, just a regular a sitcom. That's the editing's okay, but what's really put into that, right? The other thing I wanted to kind of add was that I want to change the name of originality, because it seems a little vague, to creativity, which is actually a little bit more broad, but at the same time it includes more, and I think that's important to include the idea of, it's not just how original is this idea, because a lot of things have already been done anyway, but how unique is this movie, first of all? How creative were they at creating this kind of story? And how unique is this movie compared to other movies like this? I think creativity is a better thing to look at, so check out my new review. Alright guys, so we're going to be talking about the film Footloose, directed by Herbert Ross in 1984. Now, this movie I actually did not like very much. I wasn't impressed. I was expecting to like it, because I normally like old movies, especially kind of 80s movies. They usually have a certain kind of charm to them that I felt like this one was lacking, and I didn't know what it was, because I was really excited to see it. And I like the song Footloose. That's a good song. So I was like, everybody's like, oh, you need to see Footloose and everything. Can't believe you haven't seen that, but I could have gone without seeing it and been fine. I don't want to be that mean about it though, because I know a lot of people are fans, and I know that there was a remake that came out, and I'm actually really curious to see if that remake was any better or worse or about the same as this movie. Let me break it down for you in terms of the rubric, because that's just my personal feel on just the way that it came off. But taking a look at the writing, was kind of not impressive at all. Barely got the job done, so I kind of gave that a 2. The dialogue wasn't very interesting. The storyline wasn't actually that interesting to me either. I liked the premise of the film actually a lot. It was very different. So in terms of creativity, I almost wanted to give it a 5, but I couldn't, because I thought that they could have done more with the idea. And they didn't. They just did something very generic with it, so I gave that a 4, because I thought it was kind of original, but it was not very creative, I guess. And the acting, the performances. Kevin Bacon, I haven't seen him in a lot. I know he's very famous, he's kind of a big name, but and I normally like his acting. I didn't like him in X-Men First Class, though. I liked him in Hollow Man. I need to see more with him. But this movie, he didn't really impress me. He probably did the best job out of anyone, though, because everybody else kind of sucked. Performance, I gave it 2. Visuals. I wasn't extremely impressed with anything. There were a couple nice shots and everything. I was surprised that you know, there was a little bit of good cinematography in this. Some of the lighting was actually pretty good. So I felt like it could have been pushed a lot more, though. A lot more. So I gave that a 3 because it did get the job done, and I could tell that they had put some thought into it. Same thing with the editing. Again, when thinking about this, there wasn't a lot to put into it, so it was it was very simple to put together, but I noticed that some things that are good with editing, like nice movement shots and cutting on movement and everything, it was done very well. You know, that got the job done, definitely. But, and I guess it had an okay flow to it. So that's one thing I wanted to bring into the whole editing analysis was, did this movie have a good pacing to it? And I know that has a lot to do with the way the script is written too, but editing really sets the pace to how you want to tell the story. And this story was kind of a little slow. I felt like it took a long time to get to the point. And I know that's important for like character development, but I wasn't really even that interested in any of these characters. So I gave editing about a 3. And like I said, story and everything, wasn't impressed. It was okay. Like I don't want to come off like I hated this movie, because it wasn't a bad movie, but I just didn't like it. It wasn't my cup of tea. You know, after doing the rubric score, it came out to 5.6 on a scale from 1 to 10. So, you know, like I said, wasn't bad. Just didn't really like it that much. But keep watching the reviews if you like this. And I can't wait to see which... And I'm not sure which movie I'm doing next, but I'm excited.